Okay, hello everyone. My name is Alicia, and today I am joined by Brandon Fayette, who is one of the Orville visual effects supervisors. So thank you, Brandon, so much for coming out today.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me.
So, could you please describe your job on the Orville series? We know that you're a visual supervisor, but what does it exactly mean? I mean, I know Eric Hayden does it, I know Brooke Noska does it, but what does it exactly mean in your own words?
So Eric and Brooke are the co-VFX supervisors. I'm the VFX supervisor. So in the global scheme of things, the buck stops at me for
Okay.
the entire look of the visual effects of the show. And then Eric and Brooke are kind of there to help make sure it all kind of goes together so that Seth gets the wonderful things he loves. So yeah, I mean, I do everything from direct all of the ships and space shots and put all that together with the pre-visualization to creating the look of like buildings to like I design all the ships on the show, quite a few other things. So last season I was the digital effects supervisor, and this season we don't have a digital effects supervisor. So instead it's myself, and then Eric, and then Brooke, who's also our VFX producer.
Okay.
And kind of like the order of things. So I'm also on set for everything we're filming before and after pandemic, and have been on set since season 1 of the show, since the pilot.
Yes, I noticed that when I was reading my book of the world according to Orville that it mentioned a couple things that you had done. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I'm the longest running member on the VFX team for the show. I started way back in the pre-production days of the first season. So
correct. All right. So were you a science fiction fan prior to the series by any chance? I mean, I know some people said no, I grew to love it, or I was always a sci-fi fan.
Yeah, I've always been a sci-fi fan. I mean, before working on Orville, I was at Bad Robot for almost 10 years, working with J.J. Abrams on everything from Star Trek to Star Wars to Cloverfield to Lost to Super 8, Almost Human, Person of Interest. So not really anything sci-fi there, but, you know, I've heard of them.
Very cool. So we sometimes see you post pictures of your DeLorean on social media, especially on your Twitter and stuff like that. What made you decide to own one, and how did that come about exactly?
I wanted one forever since Back to the Future. And yeah, I mean, I'd been looking for about 10 years. I found one that I liked. I was up in Seattle at the time, so I flew up there and, you know, took an 1,800-mile road trip with my partner down to LA, and the only thing that broke was the speedometer about 200 miles out, which has since been repaired. But yeah, the car's.
Was it at 6 miles per hour by any chance?
No, it's just a 40-year-old car. It uses a technology called an angle drive that attaches to the wheel hub, and it's, you know, sometimes those things crack and break. Since then, I've switched the whole car to GPS, so the whole thing's driven via GPS. I don't have to worry about that part ever going again.
That's good. Okay, so we know Orville has a lot of different alien species: Moclans, Zelayans, Krill, Kalon. Which is your favorite of the alien species?
I like them all equally. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, I guess the first ship that I designed was the Krill destroyer. So if we want to go in order of creation, it was like Krill ships, then Moclan ships, and the Kalon ships. So I guess I don't really have a favorite, but the first one was the Krill, for what that's worth.
Fair enough. So which character on the series is most like you, and why?
John Cassar.
No, the director. Okay, so you're behind the scenes.
No, I'm just teasing.
I know.
There's really none of them that are like me. Maybe Isaac. I don't know.
Okay, because you got all the brains and stuff. Okay.
I'm a little more serious. Yeah. Gotcha. I think Eric and Brooke are the silly people, and I'm the very serious one. So sometimes the humor tends to get above me. So
you're the one that has to crack the whip at them, say, "Okay, guys, let's get serious now. Playtime's over."
Well, it's not really a whip so much as it is a barb with a bunch of hooks on it, but yeah, something like that.
Fair enough. Okay, so we were talking earlier before we started recording. You worked on quite a different project, like Star Trek, Star Wars, and even Almighty. Which one would you say is one of your favorite projects to work on, and why?
Um, kind of like each one for different reasons. It was
Okay.
really fun to do the Star Wars, to do Force Awakens, and I think
Mm-hmm.
I think Cloverfield was probably one of my favorites because it was a unique thing that no one had ever done before at the time. So it was really
Right.
fun to kind of play in a new world with a really amazing person, Neville Page, great designer. So yeah, it was. I'd say maybe Cloverfield, the first one.
Very cool. So, what do you enjoy doing when you're not working on set? I mean, obviously you're on set a lot, but what do you enjoy doing on your off time?
Uh, like taking road trips and doing landscape photography, large panoramas. Sometimes just getting away, getting off the electronics, getting off all the computer stuff, and just having
Mm-hmm.
fun taking photos. I take a lot of photos in general. I mean, a lot of
Very
the
cool.
photos you'll see on like some of the Twitter official Orville things, or sometimes my photos that I just throw to Tom. So
Okay.
it depends, but generally I try to just not think about work and just kind of disconnect for a little bit, which is always
Makes
useful.
sense. So, okay,
Yeah.
so just basically say no electronics, just get away from it all. Just okay, take it.
Well, I mean,
That
I've always got my phone or something on me, but yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
like
mean
no
the
checking
main
emails
ones, yeah, like the computer.
unless, yeah, unless Seth like calls me about a question for something. I normally stay, I normally stay away from the phone and the Orville.
Saying,
Gotta have
look,
balance.
this is me time. This is me time. Don't mess with me. I get that.
No, I mean, I'll always pick up if anyone ever calls, but yeah,
Right,
no,
of
I just,
course, of course, of
you
course.
know,
That's understandable. That makes sense. Okay, so what was it like to know that you were nominated for an Emmy? I know your whole team was nominated for an Emmy and everything. What was that like knowing you were nominated for it?
it was really cool. I mean, I think, it was an honor to be nominated, and there's a lot of really phenomenal people, a lot of really phenomenal shows who are also, up for that award, and it was a trip. It was fun, and I hope one day to do it again.
Very
So
cool. Yeah, I hope you guys do too, because you guys have done some awesome, amazing work. I mean, I know me as a fan, when I see it, it's like every episode, in my opinion, deserves an Emmy. But I'm not the I'm not on the board to say give them an Emmy for every single thing.
well, I mean, just wait for this season. It'll be I think people will be really happy with the way show's going. So
Yes, I keep telling people, hang on, it's coming, and I know it's going to be better than ever. Each season's going to get better than the last.
well, we had, Seth was, really sweet to give me a lot more freedom with like the visual look of the show. So it's gone up in quality, I think, substantially for season 3. So we'll see what people think when it airs.
Very cool. Well, we can't wait to see it for sure. So we'll definitely cross our fingers and say it's going to be better, or is it going to be even more amazing? Is it going to be Oscar material, even though it's not a movie? But yes, I get you. So, what's it like seeing your name in the credits after it's been released publicly? I mean, you've done so many projects. What's it like seeing your name in the credits?
It's really cool. I think when I first moved here from New Orleans, the big goal was to see my name in the credits, and then I had my name in the credits of the movie, and I'm like, all right, well, that happened. I got to find something else now to really aspire to. But no, I mean, it's cool. I'm one of the few people that stays after films and watches credits through shows and stuff, just
Right,
because see
exactly.
the
I
people
stay
that
for
worked
the
on it,
credits too. Yeah, I try to do that. Try
things
to
like that.
go through the whole name to say, is there anybody I know and stuff like that. And then I'll go through it, and people say, why are you watching the credits? And sometimes they have a little Easter egg there too if you do that. So I can see why you would like the credits to see if
Yeah.
your name. So yeah, that makes sense. So who is somebody that you would love to work for?
I mean, I kind of love who I'm working for now. I like working with Seth quite a bit, and it
Mm-hmm.
was really wonderful to work with JJ as long as I did. And I don't know. I kind of feel like where I'm at now with the people I'm working with, or especially the VFX team, Eric and Brooke are just wonderful people, and
Yeah.
you've got Taylor and Adam, and
Mm-hmm.
just Ian and Peter and Chris and Lauren, and we have a new employee, Nisha, who's shaping up to be pretty awesome. I mean, it's
Nice.
there's a lot of just really wonderful people on my team that are just absolutely perfect at everything they do, and just stellar people. And honestly, if I could work with them, that would be who I'd work with. Just stick with that crew for the rest of my career.
Nice.
Everybody's going to move on to bigger, bolder
Mm-hmm.
things, I think, and deservedly so. But I just
Mm-hmm.
really, really lucked out with such a wonderful group of people to work with. So
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
obviously have that family community there. I sense that. I see when I watch a lot of the behind the scenes footage. I guess I'm one of those geeky people that will watch that stuff, and I see that there's that camaraderie, and I can tell you guys are very, very close. And even when I've talked to Brooke and Eric, and now you all are saying there's that team dynamic between all of you, and I love that so much. So great. Kudos to you guys.
Yeah, I mean they're awesome people. So for what
Yes.
that's worth. Anyway,
So, what is one of your favorite things to see in special effects when it is released? Do you enjoy seeing the battle scenes, or is it something else that you enjoy seeing?
on this show,
Anything in general. I mean, it could be any visual effects, basically.
I mean I don't know. I mean I think all of it's kind of really cool. You've invisible effects where you don't even notice it's happening are really wonderful. I think for this show, I mean I have a special connection to all the ships in space shots,
Okay.
just because I kind of have to bring those to life and envision them from the script. So seeing
Mm-hmm.
those kind of come together and seeing what Tom cuts together and when Tom and Seth tune it, it's really cool to see that stuff evolve. The worlds, the planets, the aliens,
Mm-hmm.
things like that are great. But seeing the Orville arrive at a planet and we go down
Yeah.
to the surface like in season 2 when we went down to the Kaelon surface, that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. That was
Things like
cool. Yeah.
that. So I think watching the worlds get visualized are really fun for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I can see that would be really cool. Yeah, especially I enjoy seeing that too. Like when the Orville came out of the water in season 2, and we had never seen that before. And I don't think I've ever seen anything in any other science fiction. So that was really cool. I like that effect. So you guys did a good job with that.
Yeah, Star Trek Into Darkness, they had a whole Enterprise underwater thing that they
Yes,
were
they
doing,
did.
but this one was fun with that shot took a lot of versions to get done.
I can imagine so.
Yeah. So anyway,
So you mentioned your team and everything a few minutes ago. So about how many people work closely with you on your team, would you say?
the VFX team are 10 people. So there's myself as the VFX supervisor, Eric's the co-supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
Brooks, the VFX producer and additional co-supervisor. Adam Rothstein is our kind of like lead compositor with the internal team.
Mm-hmm.
George is our kind of like one of our in-house artists. Taylor's one of our in-house artists, but Taylor also has like the encyclopedic knowledge of the show. She helped design the font. She designs a lot of creatures. Um, we've got Ian and Peter who are VFX editorial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Chris McLeod's our VFX coordinator, and he keeps shotgunning all the shots in check. Um, Lauren is our PA, but she's so much more than that. She's really stepped up and become kind of like a junior coordinator in her own right. And we had Delane, who is the best in the world and has moved on to a new show. But we
Mm-hmm.
also have Nisha now, who was coming from a couple Marvel projects and Disney projects, and I think that's 10. I'm like, oh God, please don't forget anyone on the team. You have covered what else see. Me, Eric, Brooke. I'm counting on my fingers right now. This is how bad this is. Adam, Taylor, Ian, Peter, Chris, Lauren. Nisha. Yes, that's 10. All right, everybody's
Okay.
accounted for. Sorry, everybody,
Great.
if you're listening to this. It's
Oh,
Sunday
they'll
or
save this
Monday.
later, but yeah, definitely. Okay, no
Yeah,
problem. Okay, so it's 10 of you, right? So it's 10
yeah.
visual effects. That's the magic team.
That's the team that brings it together. But then there's also Fuse Effects, Pixamundo, Crafty Apes, and Bot, who are the VFX houses that do the final shots. And then
Mhm.
our Fuse Previs team. And so there's, hundreds of people that work on this show. I mean, the
Yeah.
internal team that, reports to the studio that works with Seth is the
Hmm.
10 people that I talked about. But there's a lot of phenomenally talented people
Yes.
at all of the VFX houses that are just bringing this stuff
Yeah.
to life and are sick and tired of me giving them notes. So
But saying, hey, we get it, we get it. But yeah, you guys do an awesome work. Yes, obviously a village. It's obviously a village. I can tell from the way John Cesar has talked. I said, yeah, you guys are definitely there. It shows.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, so about how long does it take to make a finalized version of a visual effect by any chance?
you mean like a single shot?
Yeah, single shot. Yeah, like a
Uh,
single scene.
it it depends on the content. So it depends
Okay.
on what's happening. If it's just like stars outside of a window, those don't take but a few hours normally.
Mm-hmm.
If they're quantum stars, a little bit longer. I mean, we have a lot of preset rigs, laser blasts coming from guns. If
Mm-hmm.
it's a giant shot of a ship in the battle, that could take weeks. If it's creatures, it could take months. It's all scaled based on, what the content is for that specific moment.
Makes sense. All right, great. So where did you learn to do your special effects, or did you have another major when you went into college by any chance?
I went to college, had a bachelor's of fine arts, had a concentration in computer animation back in Louisiana, and then
Okay.
had a lot of classes in psychology and writing, but specifically moved out to Los Angeles, went to the Gnomon School of Visual Effects, and just spelled GNOMON, and did that for a bit. It's a kind of like a trade school that's now accredited, but back when I went, it wasn't. And it's a school taught by visual effects artists for visual effects artists. So that's where I kind of learned how to kind of refine things that I taught myself, and then build kind of that task from there. And then a lot of my experience past that was just working with JJ for a bit, because that was kind of my film school. Like, I knew the VFX side of it, but
Mm-hmm.
seeing how he did things on set, going from being a writer to becoming like a big director, was like very educational. Kind of watching all of the people in his periphery and how they operated really kind of helped me kind of visualize the entire process from the top down, not just through visual effects.
Cool. Very cool. So we know you're from Louisiana. So do you consider California your home now, or do you still consider Louisiana home, or do you consider your home from both homes?
I think California is probably more my home at this point.
Okay.
I've been here almost as long as I've been there, getting close. So,
Okay.
people
So
would never guess I'm from Louisiana.
that's
So,
true. That's true. That's true. Do you enjoy the cooking from Louisiana by any chance? I'm just curious.
oh yeah. Oh, I love the food from back there.
That's good. Yeah, I do too.
Half
Even
of
though
it I can't eat anymore, but I'd love it.
great. So have you tried the Orville fan experience game by any chance?
Yeah. I actually sometimes get on Zoom calls with that whole team and give them some advice and help
Okay.
them kind of tune stuff from time to time. So, try it. I've given them notes. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess to make sure that it meshes up. Did you ever play the game yourself, or do you just watch and give them the notes and everything?
I've walked through a few builds. I mean, it wasn't really much of a game so much as it was just kind of like moving around the sets and ships of the show. And I think it's starting to get more game-like elements. But
Mm-hmm.
no, it's cool. I mean, it's there's things that are obviously stretches that they created, and there's things that we helped them tune. But it's neat. It's neat to see it come together. So
Yes, exactly. When I spoke to Kevin from there, he was just saying he wants to make sure that whatever's on Orville is on their game, and that way that you guys are, meshed together. That way it doesn't have any. It's all canon, basically.
yeah.
Okay, so have you ever had to travel for your work? If so, where have you traveled?
Yeah, I've traveled a couple of places. I've gone to Australia, to Canada, to London. Uh, that's probably mostly where I've ended up going for the most part. Everything else has kind of stayed in Los Angeles.
Okay, cool. So, how would you define the Orville series in your own words? If somebody were to say, well, what exactly is the Orville? Because everybody, when I sometimes Google Orville, and then I get these weird, quirky images, but some of them are not Orville related. Some are the Orville popcorn logo stuff. But what would you say Orville series is in your own words?
Uh, the Orville is, you know, it's I don't I don't know. It's kind of some people could say it's similar to like the spiritual successor to Star Trek: The Next Generation in the way that the
Mhm.
storytelling and the people work on it. But I'd say it's kind of its own world, and it's a show about you know the values of humanity in the future as this small group of, let's call them, everyman, people on a starship are going
Mhm.
through the universe trying to help things as they go along and deal with themselves, from drinking to partying to also just, the really kind of heartfelt, poignant moments where you have characters that deal with a lot of issues that we deal with today. I mean, I think that's what most science fiction aspires
Yeah.
to be, taking the problems and the things that happen today and bringing them to light in a kind of fantastical way.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that. Yes, because it definitely shows that it's definitely not science fiction in your typical science fiction. That yes, I love that. Yes, great. Thank you. So do you have a particular favorite character on the series? If so, who is it?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, the one I deal with a lot is Yaphet. Well, I don't know if he's a
Yes.
favorite so much as he is a. All right, he's going to do this. He's going to do that. Thank God, there's been no BTS of like me acting out Yaphet on set, just like walking around.
No, don't
Say that.
encourage them, Brandon. They might come up with something.
Oh no, it'll never happen. Not unless
Okay.
Tom listens to this, and then even then it won't happen. So anyway,
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so have you always been fascinated with special effects, and who was it that got you started with that journey?
yeah, I've always loved it, and kind of got myself started. I just want to know how the things were made, and just
Okay,
started kind of playing around myself to do it.
great. Well, that's all the questions I have, but I do have a couple of others that I'm kind of curious about. So,
Okay.
what's one thing that has changed in your visual effects journey from season one to now season three? I mean, obviously, has it gotten more complex? Has it gotten a little bit more
Well, I'll speak to
simpler?
season one. I'll speak to season one and season two. I won't speak to season three,
Fair enough.
except in broad strokes. But in season one, we were doing a lot of camera work and a lot of the scenes. If you watch kind of the battles
Mhm,
outside of the hug the donkey sequence, which I did, a lot of it was very much kind of 90s Star Trek, two ships in space, kind of trading
mhm,
blows back and forth. Not a lot of dynamic camera movement. In season two, we started to get a little bit more dynamic with the moves, a little more Battlestar, a little more Star Wars,
mhm,
a lot more kind of movement, a lot more action. One of the things I was really trying to do is make the audience able to follow along with the special effects, because in a lot of science fiction shows and movies, you kind of just get lost in a bunch of randomness of just cut to space battle. I don't know where I'm at, but there's ships firing. Go back inside. Go back outside. I don't know where I'm at. So we do a
mhm,
lot of these things I call handoffs, where you might be with, some Kalon ships firing on, you know, our Union ships, and then the Orville appears, and then you kind of like go from the Kalon ships to the Orville, and then you're with the
mhm.
Orville for a bit until you go to the next scene. So kind of like bringing people with it. It's a lot of like cut wide, go tight, cut wide, go tight. And in season three, we're taking that a little bit further, doing even more dynamic kind of camera work. A lot of stuff this show's never done before, and it's really just kind of pushing that. And then with that, because the ships are moving more, because things are more dynamic, between season one and season two, the effects had to scale up. So we were using a lot of that more often than not to just kind of make our effects. Hold on one second here.
Mhm.
It's just ready to. Okay. So yeah, it was very much about trying to, bring more realism into the model. Like season two, we added interiors into the ship, so you could look
Mhm.
inside windows and see things. Season one, it was more like the model, where it was just very soft lights. Season three, we're doing some other things. So it's, every season, a little bit more detail gets put into ships, a little more detail happens. Like the Krill destroyers in season two were upgraded. They had more detail put in the panels. The
Right.
guns were more, everything's more described. So yeah, it grows every season, kind of an
That's
order of magnitude.
that's true. I've seen that because I know in season one in Old Wounds, when we first meet the Krill, we're like, what are these space vampire characters kind of thing? Even though we don't know him as a space vampire, we just know him as this grayish skinned alien that wants this banana ray weapon, so to speak. And we're like, who are these people? And then it's definitely escalated each season, like you said. I've seen that. So yeah. So I'm glad that you guys are up in your A game each time instead of it going downgrade, because I've seen certain shows like Battlestar Galactica, the original one with Lauren Green. The first season was a classic, but then when they did the remake of Galactica 1980, you could tell the effects were not quite as up to par as they were as the original. So that's good that you guys are still making it better and better and better, better and bigger, so to speak.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Brandon, for coming out, and we hope to see more of your lovely visual effects in season 3 and beyond. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
You're
Thanks
so
again.
welcome. All right, I'm going to stop this right here.
Cool.
All righty, well, thank you, Brandon.